I heard the wind.
It blew the windows and everything out that house.
And I heard the roaring.
It was just real quick. Look what it could have been. But it's not.
It's like it came through the front door.
To be alive, I'm blessed.
We'll be praying for you.
A school, a church, and many, many homes damaged in a violent tornado overnight. I'm Cheryl Preheim, along with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb here in Newnan, about 40 miles south of Atlanta, where the rebuilding and the cleanup will be a very long process.
Yeah, and Cheryl, we're here right now after doing those tornado warnings last night in the studio and hearing the words from the National Weather Service with these warnings such as considerable damage, catastrophic damage, and tornado emergency. I wanted to come down here to see this damage for myself, and this is catastrophic down here. Take a look at behind me. You can see these massive trees that have fallen on that house. Luckily, no one in that house was injured. And this is how it looks on the ground, not only here, but in many areas around Newnan. And we have a better perspective for you that you can see from up above, some of the aerial footage that we have from just a little bit earlier today. And you can see the massive destruction. Now, of course, the meteorologists from the National Weather Service are going and surveying and assessing this damage. Earlier, the meteorologist in charge at the National Weather Service in Peachtree City, Keith Stellman, said this was a violent, long-track tornado that moved through Coweta County. And he was saying at least an EF2 tornado. Now, from what I'm seeing and looking at this, I would not be surprised if when the final report comes out, if this is not an EF3 or an EF4 tornado. But again, it's going to take a little while for them to assess this damage, to determine the exact track and path of the storm and what actually is going to be rated. People here are really having a hard time dealing with all this damage.
We have this emergency system that alerts people, because without that, I'd be having a funeral right now.
Boy, that reality really sinking in throughout the day as people saw the extent of the damage because, again, that tornado took its toll in the darkness of night. We have seen the Newnan community coming together to help each other in so many ways already today. Some volunteers telling us they've not slept yet. We have live team coverage of the damage, of what happens next, and people sharing stories about surviving a scary night. We start with Rebecca Lindstrom. Rebecca, to say there were a lot of close calls here is an understatement.
You could take a quick look around and really get an easy idea of what happened, but to truly understand, you've got to get that bird's eye view so that you can see the totality of this damage. And that's why my photographer David and I spent the day driving around Newnan trying to get that better view. We spent a lot of time in the neighborhoods that were east of the courthouse, and as you look at this video, you can probably see why. We found huge trees that had crashed through rooftops. They had blocked streets. We also found what looks like a carpet business that was destroyed. If you look closely at the video, you can actually see the rolls that were once protected and are now exposed. And it was in this same area that we met Tamarcus Boozer. He says he was watching TV with his girlfriend around midnight when they heard the storm warning, and that is when she immediately went to get her two young children so that they could stay together.
Boom, she go in the living room to get the kids. They was actually on this sofa where everything piled up at. But I hear her telling the kids to get up. Come on, come on, come on. At this time, the rain got heavy. Then she started screaming. And when she started screaming, I jumped up off the bed trying to go see what was going on because I don't feel it. But all this is already done. It's like it came through the front door. And the front door is right there on the sofa too.
It just invited itself right in.
Invited itself in. Scary.
And coming back out here live, I want to give you just a really good picture of the force of this tornado. This house used to be on this foundation. You see the cinder blocks and the brick here. It lifted the house up, pushed it over several feet, just hanging on by some of the electrical lines. They feel like maybe that might have kept it from moving further. I don't know. This seems like pretty powerful winds for something like that to have stopped it. But just a really good example of what the family inside this house and so many houses along Robinson Street were dealing with late last night. Thankfully, everyone here and along this stretch of Robinson Street got out alive.
There's literally no trees left in Hollis Heights.
A viewer in Newnan sent us this video recorded from his roof this morning. Scott Burtis says the damage was so expansive and so many trees were flattened that he could see buildings in a neighboring city that he couldn't see before the storm. You can see the trees uprooted in lawns, blocking streets and laying in driveways, and they lost power. Thankfully, no one in that neighborhood was hurt.
We got some missing shingles, some missing siding, some broken windows. You know, we can get stuff out of the garage and we can fix things. We can plant trees back. But this is unbelievable. We're the city of homes. And these homes are still standing.
Scott says he's received an outpouring of support from community and offers from folks to help clean up.
Chris, as I was driving here into Newnan, there was a group of people on the corner taking bottles of water and snacks, and they're really coming together in ways that really make you feel good about the response to what I know is devastating for so many people. And we also saw a lot of power lines just dangling here 17 hours after the tornado moved through. Georgia Power working very hard to restore power in Newnan and other parts of our state where there were power outages. And that loss of power was even more dangerous, caused more fear and challenges because it took out part of the 911 response system.
We have about 95% completed the rescue operations where we have gone door to door, and those areas that were most affected. So far, still so good. Everyone is accounted for.
All right, I'm going to bring in Tracy A. McPeer now, who's been here in Newnan with me. Tracy, it really is every turn you take, you see a house with a tree on it, you see loss, you see damage. It can feel a little overwhelming.
It is overwhelming, and of course you mentioned how the community is coming together. Another thing you see is neighbors coming out of their houses to help other neighbors. So here on Johnson Avenue, trees are down, power lines are across the road, trees are in yards, they're also on top of houses. Now, one thing that we have noticed over by Newnan High School, all 13 buildings and school grounds sustained extensive damage. From an 11 Alive Sky Tracker's view, you can see huge sections of the roof were torn off, debris littering the school grounds with big trees uprooted by the street. A covered walkway by one of the entrances also damaged, with the metal covering ripped off and bricks scattered on the ground. The video making it clear why they had to cancel school today. They're not sure yet if they'll be open on Monday, with trees and power lines still down. The superintendent says they just finished repairing damage last week from another tornado that hit in October, but they will get through this.
People here are strong, this community's strong. We're going to be just fine. What we're worried about today is making sure that our staff, our students, our community, families are safe. And we're going to assess the damage, and we'll pick up the pieces, and we'll come out better for it.
The neighborhoods around the school also hit hard, with homes ripped apart, trees uprooted everywhere you look or snapped in half. A handful of families forced to seek temporary shelter at the middle school. Ashley Fortress says it came out of nowhere.
It happened so fast. I was still in bed. I was just trying to get out of bed and get my kids to safety. I can't explain.
The Red Cross is here helping. So far, they tell me they've had more than 60 calls for help from families hit hard by the storms last night. Many of those calls coming from right here in Newnan.
All right, Tracy, thank you so much. We have new video tonight out of Bartow County, possibly tornado damage. Here's a live look from the 11 Alive Sky Tracker of the neighborhoods in Cartersville. There are a lot of trees down in the area and so many damaged homes. Bartow County was under a severe thunderstorm warning for most of last night. Crews were out earlier today trying to clean up branches that fell and pieces of houses that were just strewn onto the ground. A lot more work absolutely needs to be done. Polk County is another area where we've seen a lot of damage. We talked to the Polk County sheriffs at one point who said that people had even been trapped inside their homes. Doug Richards has more.
This is an area just southeast of Cedartown, and as you look around here, you can see a pretty distinct pattern. You can see trees that are snapped off, sort of in a straight line, indicating a weather pattern with destroyed or damaged houses in between. This is the area just around a church called Friendly Baptist Church, and it's an area where, all in all, the folks consider themselves actually rather lucky. The skies darkened and the wind kicked up about midday Thursday. Residents say there was hail about the size of a quail's egg, and then the wind kicked up even harder. A Cedartown resident, Miguel Escutia, says he was home from working an overnight shift and was just trying to sleep through it.
At first, I just heard thunder. I just heard thunder. I was like a regular, rainy day, thundering, and then I laid back down, and all I heard the wind. The hail hitting the windows, and I got up, and that's when I got up, the ceiling caved in, so the tree fell in, yeah. If I stayed there another minute, it would have got me.
Escutia and his wife, Yareli Buenuelos, says their 3 school-age children were unharmed and earlier today unable to even get into their house because of the damage. At 6, we will talk to a man who actually watched from his front porch the storm settle over his community and then subsequently destroyed his house. As to whether this was a tornado or straight line winds, that seems to be still a pending question. But honestly, to the folks here, they say it's kind of irrelevant to their lives right now.
And I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb back here live in Coweta County. And that's so true. Sometimes so many people get caught up on like, oh my gosh, was it a tornado? Was it straight line winds? The issue is there's a lot of damage all around, and whether or not it was straight line winds or a tornado, folks are still having to clean up from this system moving through, just like what we're seeing here. Check out this car. Not only a tree on top of it, but the tree next to it uprooted that kind of crushed it there on both sides. Meteorologist Samantha Moore was also with us last night as we were doing our live team coverage through the late night hours. Sam, thank goodness things are a lot quieter out there today.
Yeah, thank goodness. After 139 severe storm reports were reported across the deep south as this system moved across, bringing all those long track tornadoes across Alabama and in through here. So we're looking at those showers here across to our south, around the Macon area, also up around Griffin. We're seeing a few little sprinkles, but that is what's left of the system for now. But we're going to see it swing back up at us as we head into tomorrow. So that will give us a chance for a few showers and then some isolated storms during the afternoon and evening hours. We have that level 1 risk across northwest Georgia. We'll have to watch to see if the SPC brings that greater chance, that level 2 risk in our direction as we head into late Saturday and then into early Sunday. Yes, once again, we have that level 2 risk here across the Atlanta metro area. Of course, that's what we had yesterday with the addition of the enhanced risk off to our west. So we'll have to watch this carefully for you as we head into the weekend. Morning showers, afternoon storms tomorrow, chance for more severe storms on Sunday. So coming up, we'll time it out for you and let you know when to expect the worst of the weather this time around.
And we had a lot of downloads last night of our 11 Alive weather app. You can stay in the know with that app. There you can sign up for severe weather alerts, check interactive radar, and track changes in the forecast for your neighborhood.